Good morning and welcome to Faith Friday with Coach Ellis. Hey, this is a day I spend just a few minutes chatting with us about the matters of faith that help us walk this path. So, when I was growing up in the church, we used to sing this song. He's an on-time God. Yes, he is. He may not come when you want him, but he's always right on time. He's an on-time God. And I used to listen to that song and say, that I don't even understand why folks were saying it, because as far as I'm concerned, God is always too early. He's always too late. And as I grew older and grew into faith, Lady D, I began to realize that it wasn't so much that God was too early or too late. It was that I wasn't understanding early enough, or I understood too late what God was doing. Well, what I wanted to get today is the idea of understanding God's timing. Everything God says is true, and God's plan is perfect, but our execution of that plan always leaves something to be desired. Sometimes we get, quote unquote, ahead of God. It doesn't mean that we're smarter than God or that we're moving too fast for God. It means that we are out of sync with His timing. So how do you get in sync, Coach? Well, I'm glad you asked me. I believe there are a couple of steps we take to get in sync, get in line with the timing of God. How do we know God's timing? I think, first of all, it is a matter of relationship. When I have conversations with my children or with my wife, I can tell certain things about them by their mannerisms and their voice inflections. No matter what they have said that I've heard with my ears, I hear them with my heart because we're in relationship. If we understand God's timing, we hear God with our heart because we're in relationship. So we have this honest conversation with God. God, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I want. This is what I'm scared of. This is what I'm sensing. This is what I'm feeling. And most of all, this is where I am. This is where I believe I am. And God, you said this, but I'm not feeling that. I'm not seeing that. And have an honest conversation with God about where you are. It's not like He doesn't know already. So this honest conversation with Him isn't for His benefit, it's for ours. And in doing that, we open ourselves up, open our heart up to have this heart-to-heart conversation. And in this place of prayer, in this place of conversation, we begin to hear God's heart on the matter. And if we hear His heart on the matter, our timing becomes better. So we hear God saying, yeah, the time is now for you to pray about this matter, for you to plan on this matter, for you to think about this matter, for you to act on this matter. It could be any place on the spectrum of activity. It doesn't mean that His timing means we go immediately jump into action and start doing things. It could be more time to think, more time to pray, more time to consider others, more time to involve other people. It could be any number of things, but understanding His timing, first thing is through this prayer, through this heart-to-heart conversation, being honest with Him about how we feel and what we're seeing, allows Him to speak to our hearts. The next thing is that if we want to understand God's timing, Gina, we want to understand His timing, we also must look for the opportunities for Him to be God. Now, you often heard me say that if it makes sense to me, if I can do it in my own power, it's not God. And I honestly believe that God has us do strange and things that we were destined to fail if He does not intercede. Timing is also like that, I believe. You can get a peace in your spirit, you get a peace in your soul, you can be at ease in your mind and body, and it be God's perfect timing because everything has aligned for you, not because things have been perfect, because you have seen how God has systematically eliminated or mitigated or marginalized all those things which will come against what you are desiring and what you're after. So it's not some poof and magically it happens. No, you have seen God overcome the obstacles you didn't think could be overcome, and then you're finally at a place of peace. And while we understand this, understanding God's timing has a lot to do with peace. You cannot be in God's timing if you're not at peace. And by that I mean, not that turmoil isn't going around. There's something on the inside that you get, Gina. Something on the inside you get, Lady D. When you know that you know that you know that you know. Deep down in your knower, that this is it. And when you know that, you start looking for the opportunities. So you've prayed, you had a conversation with God. You have watched him systematically knock down the obstacles and giving you a sense of peace. And now you're looking for the opportunity. The opportunity when when I say look for it, we're not actively going and seeking who can help us. We begin to recognize the movement of God because it has happened in a way that we have not expected it. Very rarely will God operate in the way you expect him to operate. It will happen suddenly. It will simply just appear. When is the timing right? The timing is always right to do the right thing. The timing is always right when you've had this conversation with God and you've been honest with him. You've listened to his heart. You have watched him knock down the obstacles and the opportunity appear. When your dream and the opportunity line up, you are in God's timing. Don't miss it. When God says go, go. When he says stop, stop. When he says move, move. But if you miss it, the cycle starts over again. So understand God's timing. First of all, spend time building that relationship so you'll know his heart. Okay? Then watch him eliminate all the obstacles. And then observe the environment for his right now moment. Let us go at once and seize the land. Hey, I'm Coach Ellis. You got questions, comments, or thoughts? Hit me up at coach@elliscrum.net or catch me on Facebook at Coach Ellis. Until next Friday, have a one-tabulous, prosperous, well-timed Faith Friday. God bless you. Bye-bye.